Hello and welcome back to the second part of my two-part series of me going over the different gameplay aspects of all of the Call of Duty Black Ops 1 Zombies maps. The first map I'm going to be talking about today is DLC 2's Call of the Dead. The first thing you'll notice on this map and in its intro cutscene is the entire cast is made up of famous actors like Michael Rooker, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Robert Englund, and Danny Trejo, as well as the boss zombie being George A. Romero, who was a famous director who made Night of the Living Dead. And while we're on the topic of George, the way he works is he has 250,000 health per player on the map. So if you have 4 players, he has 1,000,000 health. But if you can kill him, he'll give you a death machine and a free perk. And speaking of perks, we also get a new perk called Deadshot Daiquiri. I do apologize for the Shang footage here. I didn't get to actually buying Deadshot on Call of the Dead. But it was introduced on that map. For 1,000 points, you could auto-aim at the zombies' heads and your crosshair was smaller. Honestly, I don't know who would prefer this perk over something like Stamina Up or PhD Flopper, but to each their own, I guess. Now that we've got that out of the way, I think it's time we start talking about wonder weapons for once, because I forgot to do that in my last video. But 2 new weapons that I don't have footage for, because I wasn't lucky enough to get them out of the box before I quit on this. One is the VR-11, which is not actually that great, but if you pack-a-punch it, and you shoot your teammate, this is only on co-op, they'll get like an insta-kill effect, basically, as well as being able to one-shot George, but he won't give you a free perk. He might give you a death machine, I believe, I'm not entirely sure. The other wonder weapon is called the Scavenger. It's an explosive sniper rifle, which, when you pack-a-punch it, it gets an infrared scope, which I don't think anyone actually uses. You can pair it with PhD Flopper, and it becomes a very effective wonder weapon for high rounds. I do apologize again for not getting the footage, but the pack-a-punch for this map is actually, the location is determined by the lighthouse once you turn on power. What it does is, it'll just spin in circles for a little bit, probably longer than most people would like. It's kind of a random amount of time, but it'll spawn in like the water area usually, and it'll move every couple rounds. Overall, this map does have a lot of good gameplay mechanics. I just don't play it as much as the original, like Keynote or Totem and other maps that I enjoy just more in general. Alright, next up on our list of maps is Shangri-La from DLC 3 Annihilation. This was a very difficult and chaotic. I really didn't enjoy it as much as the other maps, just because a lot of it you'd probably want to play it on co-op. But it introduced some boss zombies, as well as a new set of monkeys. On Shangri-La, these monkeys will steal your drops, and while they carry the drop, it can cycle between a bunch of different ones, and can even give you a free perk drop. But you have to kill them before they get up the stairs here that are leading to Pack-a-Punch, which also requires some other step that I really I didn't read about. Back on topic, the other 2 bosses are the Shrieker, which it screams really loud in your face, and it's always sprinting, and they're a little bit more tanky than regular zombies. They're just all around really annoying bosses. And then the Napalm Zombie, which slowly walks towards you like Michael Myers, and if you get close to him, your screen will have like a fire effect, and you'll take a little bit of damage. He's fine. He's just a little weird. Sadly, no new perks were introduced until the next map, Moon, which we'll get to in a minute, but overall, this map was one that I didn't really like playing as much as the other maps. The other ones really just were, to me, a lot easier, because I'm more of a solo gamer, because I don't have a lot of friends that play Black Ops 1 with me. But anyways, yeah, this map was just okay to me. Coming up next with the Resurrection DLC, which was actually a bundle with the World at War maps, as remade in the Black Ops 1 engine, as well as a new map, Moon, which was... It had incredible ambitions, but the graphical fidelity kind of fell flat a little bit. It wasn't really on track side with this one. Once you get on the moon, everything just kind of looks a little bland, very grungy, which you wouldn't expect space to be clean, but it's a little muddy. Otherwise, has pretty fun gameplay. Pack Punch is at the start, but very difficult to get because zombies start running almost instantaneously at the start. Speed or Jug alternate every time you go back and teleport back to the earth, because there's another spot on the map where you can jump in and teleport. This map introduced a single boss zombie and a single perk to the mode, both very interesting in my opinion. We'll go over the boss zombie first. The Astronaut is a very, it can get very tanky, but he'll just lumber around. He'll follow you everywhere, kind of like the Napalm Zombie, and if he grabs you, he'll take your perk and teleport you to a random spot on the map. I actually just remembered that it introduced a second boss zombie, which was a Nova Crawler, which actually was introduced in Kino der Toten. I forgot to mention that too. The Nova Crawlers in this map, though, actually teleport around, and they can trap you in a corner very easily. One annoying thing about this map, other than the fact that I'm just really bad at it, is the system that involves the hacking device, which you can find on a table. It allows you to hack certain things. Some of them cost money, some of them don't. What you do, you just hold X, and sometimes it'll take a long time, but if you're doing something with the excavators, which will slowly come down and decompress areas of the map that you need, the hacking device can stop that if you go to the place where you teleport onto the moon in Griffin Station. It's very important that you do so if you're trying to do something like the Easter egg. This map also introduced Mule Kick as a perk, which gives you a third gun, and it lets you have a third gun, and it was actually backported to all the other maps. You may have seen it. In really any other Black Ops 1 map, they added it, and also there was some extra footage of the Astronaut actually doing something. The final maps I'm going to be covering for BO1 are the 4 remasters from the World at War maps. I'm going to start with Nacht der Untoten. All of them have the Ultimus crew, which are Dempsey, Rutov, and Nikolai and Takio. But that wasn't actually the case in Nacht der Untoten and Verrückt. Tank Dempsey was actually the only one of the Ultimus crew to be in Verrückt, but none of them were in Nacht. It was just 4 random Marines. Nacht it's actually a pretty faithful remaster of the original map, as well as they added Mule Kick. None of the other perks, though. The second World at War map is Verrückt, which actually, in the OG engine, all 4 of these maps were kind of hard to play. There were a lot of glitches and bugs, and the graphics were not quite as good as BO1's. They had a bit of an issue with like shaders and stuff, but it was a fine game. And in BO1, the remasters actually are very nice. It's a little bit more tolerable on this map because this is the map that introduced perks, and you actually get the solo quick revive ability, which when you're down, you just get right back up on solo. You get 3 attempts at that. And of course, the next map is the map that introduced the Ultimus crew, which are on screen right now in the loading screen, Shino Numa. This map also introduced the Arasaka as a replacement to the Kar 98K. They're statistically the same thing, but it's Japanese, so that's pretty cool. And they also added Mule Kick to the spawn room. Just like in Verrückt, they added Mule Kick to the room right outside Quick Revive. The layout of this map was also just a central hub with 4 parts branching off of it. It was pretty interesting at the time and allowed for actually a little shake-up of the gameplay, because they also changed it so that it would randomize the perk spawns. At least, like for the outside perks, Mule Kick was always in the start run. This map also added Hellhounds as the very first boss zombie, which was actually a pretty cool addition, rather than just the same boring zombies.
What the hell? Oh my god!
Overall, this map does look much better than the original, but there is one part of the map that makes the water just look completely white, even though it's meant to be in a swamp. Overall, this was an incredible map, which, if it weren't overshadowed by our next map that I'm covering, would have probably been the greatest in World at War. Speaking of the next map, Der Riese is our last map that I'm covering today. It's the first map with Pack-a-Punch, and it's the first map to include the teleporters that get you to Pack-a-Punch. It's a very good map in terms of atmosphere and gameplay, because the Pack-a-Punch machine allows you to upgrade your weapons, and it's just overall very fun to play. In the original World at War version, though, there was one glitch that rendered the Wunderwaffe DG2 completely useless. And that was the fact that if you shocked yourself with Juggernog, it would completely disable the perk. You would still have it, but it wouldn't work. You'd still die in 2 hits. In this BO1 version, that was fixed, as well as a bunch of other bugs in the engine that were very odd. In fact, the BO1 engine actually helped all of the maps flow much better. Many Zombies fans were very excited to find out where exactly this would go. But until then, we had one of the best Call of Duty games to date. Alright, that pretty much covers it for this video. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.